This is my audience, and this is my visual aid. Hello, my name is Geraldine, and I'm here to talk about global warming, the causes, effects, and some solutions to better our environment. Global warming is impossible to deny. Research done by NASA has shown that over the last 135 years, our global temperature has increased by 1.76 degrees Fahrenheit. This may seem like a small amount, however, our planet is so massive that it requires a significant amount of heat to globally impact the planet. I included a comparison between the 1884 global temperatures and 2019 global temperatures so that you could really see the difference. And as you can see here, in 1884, the areas with warmer temperatures were much smaller and spread apart from each other. However, in 2019, nearly the entire planet is covered in a warm climate. And if we were to continue down this path, then we would be completely engulfed by a warm climate, and that would be detrimental for some ecosystems. The main reasons for global warming can be found within our everyday life. And this fact makes it kind of difficult to get a hold of because we do rely so heavily on industries that are actively contributing. However, with all the improvements we have made in technology, I truly believe that we can create more sustainable ways of life. In order to face this huge issue that is global warming, we must familiarize ourselves with the causes as well as be aware of the effects. And once we have done this, then we can move forward and find alternative practices that are better for the environment. So every day we do things that contribute to global warming, from the cars we drive, to the air conditioning systems in our homes, even to the foods that we consume. Each of these required processes that released harmful gases into the atmosphere. These harmful gases are also known as the greenhouse gases, and they are known for being heat-trapping gases, which means if enough of them are released into the atmosphere, they are inevitably going to affect the temperatures and cause a rise in temperatures. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, there were 3 major greenhouse gases that were emitted in 2017, and I included the pie chart here to show this research. As you can see, carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide were the top 3 emitted in 2017. Now, each industry has an effect on global warming with the processes that they use. I included another pie chart here that shows the economic sectors in which the most greenhouse gases were emitted in 2017. And you can see there's 5 of them, but I'm only going to be talking about the ones I highlighted. So I'm only going to be talking about transportation, electricity, and agriculture sectors and the processes within them where carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide were emitted. So transportation is the biggest part of the pie chart, and it is the leading contributor to carbon dioxide emissions because the vehicles that we use, planes, trains, cars, they all require oil to be burned to run their engines. And when oil is burned, then carbon dioxide is released. And according to an EPA article, 4.6 metric tons of carbon dioxide per year is released by a typical car that we drive. So it's easy to see why transportation and carbon dioxide are both the biggest portions of the pie in the pie chart. The second sector is the electricity sector, which is the second largest contributor because they use coal in order to create electricity. And when you burn coal, you also produce more carbon dioxide. And on top of that, when you want to heat buildings, they will use methane. And so in that one sector, you have 2 harmful greenhouse gases being emitted. The final sector is agriculture, and this can be detrimental because some farmers will use nitrogen-based fertilizer in order to increase their plant growth. However, only half of that fertilizer will be emitted by the soil, and the rest will be left as fertilizer runoff or into the atmosphere as nitrous oxide. And on top of the agriculture, there's also the livestock. And when you have the cattle's manure and you need to dispose of it, they will burn the manure, and that will cause methane to be released into the environment. So now that we know the effects or the causes of global warming, it's important to realize the effects that they have on our environment. think the most important thing to note is that these effects, the greenhouse effect, they're not short-lived. For example, carbon dioxide will remain in the atmosphere for a few hundred years. So that means that the carbon that we emit during our lifetime will not disappear from the atmosphere for many, many years after we've ceased to exist. So this just shows that our actions do hold so much consequence. So the effects of global warming are, of course, with the greenhouse gases being in the atmosphere and trapping the heat, it causes rising temperatures. So these rising temperatures can be very damaging because they can cause our ice caps to melt. And according to National Geographic, 3/4 of our fresh water supply is held within those ice caps. So not only are we, if they melt, not only are they contributing to a dangerous rise in sea level and ruining ecosystems, but it's also getting rid of our fresh water supply. And then, of course, in rising temperatures, you just have a disruption of the natural flow of weather. So we will have more droughts, more wildfires, and then according to NASA, hurricane-associated intensity is projected to increase. So we're just going to have more hurricanes that are even more destructive, and they will ruin communities. So with all this being said, what can we do? Well, since carbon dioxide is the contributing factor, one of the largest contributing factors, we need to get our carbon emissions under control, and we need to flatten the curve of carbon emissions. And according to a One Green Planet article, in order to just flatten the curve, we have to reduce our carbon emissions by approximately 7 billion per year for the next 34 years. And that's just to flatten the curve. So how do we do that? Well, we need to drift away from using fossil fuels as our primary source of energy and instead switch to more sustainable, renewable resources such as solar, water, and wind. And how can we do this? What can we do as individuals? Well, it's very important that you recognize your carbon footprint and you are in control of what you're spending your money on. You can buy more energy efficient products. You can research the foods that you consume and the processes that they require, and you can make adjustments. And as a consumer, you do have a choice where you spend your money, and just being more environmentally conscious. And also another great thing is supporting tree restoration projects, because we need more trees so that they can absorb the carbon dioxide and there will be less in our atmosphere. So in conclusion, there are many levels to global warming. However, the solutions are easy to find if we are just more open-minded about renewable resources, because to me it makes more sense to use renewable resources instead of heavily depending on things that are going to eventually diminish, like oil. So we as consumers have a choice to choose more eco-friendly, sustainable resources. And as we do continue to do that, then our industries will hopefully notice and make a change themselves, which will be better for all of our futures. Thank you.